Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bob's Got Questions, a weekly show where we wander the internet looking for cool stuff. Today's topic is the magnificent, now obsolete mechanical typewriter. The things I want to know are fun, they're silly, they're downright basic. So without further ado, let's search up some stuff. Starting as always with the first question, which is, has the typewriter ever been used in a cult? Man, one of these days I'll get it. Doesn't look like there's any actual cult linkage to the typewriter, just the quiet cult of bringing the typewriter back. You know, it's popular to be retro with a typewriter right now. We're in cult TV history. Bummer. On to the next question. Okay, what's something wacky and crazy and abnormal I could ask about the typewriter? Has a typewriter ever been dropped from an airplane? The New York Times. Parachute to drop air truck's cargo. Whoa, okay. Delivery of typewriters by air will begin next week. This plane will take its first cargo of 210 typewriters. Typewriters will be transported by air, but they will also be dropped from the plane by parachute. Ooh. The chute will be opened and thrown out with the typewriters. Are they doing single typewriters at a time? One typewriter with one parachute? This person is absolutely convinced of the future of this phase of commercial aviation. The phrase by air truck will be as familiar and as significant as by air mail. I honestly kind of wish that had happened. That would be so cool if things kept being dropped by air parachute. Oh, here we go. 3 typewriters at a time will be dropped. Typewriters landed so easily that they could be used at once, which is great. You didn't even have to repair them after they were thrown out of an airplane. Okay, well that's fun. Let's ask another silly question. Can you use a typewriter to draw pictures? It looks like you can. Let's look at this one. Well, okay, so these are all some pretty detailed pictures. Are these all being drawn with a typewriter? Wow, some of these even have color. Let's see, this is the guy doing it, the artist. Here he's typing on the typewriter to create the picture. Wow, dang, look at that. That's impressive. Here he is, time-lapsing, drawing the picture. Whoa, okay, look at the detail on that. Wow, okay, dang, look at that. That is wild. I don't feel like I realized how detailed those are until you zoom in super close and you can see the individual letters. Look at that carriage. Letter E's, letter A's, the word Imperial's in there. That is insane. That's really cool. Well, he even has a portable one so he can do it while he's outside. That's fun. He said that this one took a week to do. He doesn't know how many keystrokes it takes. Wasn't counting though. He said he has 63 typewriters. That's a lot of typewriters. Aren't they kind of expensive too? It's a very fun way to display an art gallery though. Okay, how about another fun question? Has anyone ever used a typewriter to make music? Question mark. Orchestra plays music using only typewriters? Boston Typewriter Orchestra. Color me intrigued. Okay, this is a lot less impressive than I thought it was going to be. I don't know, I was expecting like actual music. This is more of like, I guess it's music. It's like drumline. Like if you like those people, if it was like just the marching band with only the drums, that's kind of what this would sound like. I'm not going to play the sound because I don't want to get copyright violated. But I mean, it's a cool idea, I guess. They've got like the different keys make different noises. Like the shift key makes a different key than the regular key. And they've got the slidey bar, the little ratchet sound. They can turn it. There's a little ding when the slider goes back. There's a little ding. It's pretty cool. Okay, now that we've got some fun questions done, let's ask some more basic questions. Some basic facts about the typewriter. Typewriters.com. 11 shocking facts. I will be the judge of if they are shocking or not. First patent came in 1714. 18th century inventor Henry Mill. He named it Machine for Transcribing Letters. Okay, we'll come back to this because I want to know what was happening in the world in 1714, but let's learn some more shocking facts. So after 100 years after the first patent, this guy, Christopher Latham Scholes, had a new machine in 1867. So they said because the original arrangement of the keyboard was not in the QWERTY layout, so they had to fix it because QWERTY key arrangement is less likely to jam when you've got all the little keys doing this flip, 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 flip. I can see how some of them, if you had to press 2 that were like right next to each other, that would probably make them like stick. So QWERTY layout was less likely to do that. He sold the rights. He didn't have the sales skills to like market the typewriter. So he sold it to somebody else who could do it. Oh, the company that manufactured them originally was Remington Arms Company, like the gun manufacturer. Early keyboards were modeled after piano keys. Huh, I would be interested to see a picture of that. Okay, so here's one. Kind of hard to see out. So there's the piano keys with the letters, different letters, and then I don't where's the page? Where are the keys that will make letters on the page? Here's one that looks a little more like what we're used to. It's kind of cool. I guess the page would go in the center here. Here's another option. Very fun. Interesting. Typewriters allowed an avenue for women to become part of the workforce. Provided a foot in the doorway for modern feminism. 80% of early typewriters were women. So I don't understand, like, were women were capable of doing things handwritten? Was it just like a faux pas that women couldn't be like clerks in the store taking notes, like writing things down? But then for some reason with a typewriter, they could now? I don't understand. It's kind of one of those funny history things where it doesn't really make sense logically, but that's how it happened. The myth of the typewriter. I don't understand this one. Mark Twain wrote the first typewritten novel. Although he didn't write it, it was transcribed to a typewriter. So he probably dictated it to someone else who typed it. Oh, there's that hypothetical question about how long would it take a group of monkeys to compose a works of Shakespeare. There's still some people who use typewriters in the modern day, primarily in India. In today's modern world, where everything is online, typewriters are extremely secure. Okay, let's come back to this date, 1714. I want to know more about this. Like, what was life like for the average 17-14-year-old? Okay, let's come back to this date, 1714. I want to know what was happening in the world in 1714. On this day, historical events. January 7th, typewriter was patented by Henry Mill. Okay, validation. This guy published something. Prussia and Russia sign a secret treaty. Okay, none of these things are really things that I would be able to, or things that I am familiar with. Queen of England. Okay, nothing really that interesting. Let's look at the other date then, when it was the next patent, 1868, when this guy, Christopher Latham Sholes, developed his machine. Although, I don't want another of these like list of dates. Let's think about like what it was like for a person living at that time. Like what was life like for a person living at the time when the typewriter was invented? A day in the life of a person living in 1867. Memora History. Proclaimed by the Queen. Provinces of Canada and Nova Scotia and New Brunswick are united. So this is what they would have been wearing. Photographs are not super big yet. There's some hoop skirts going on. There's some women getting caught on things in hoop skirts. And the wind blowing the hoop skirts away. Oh my god, this is a picture of the ends giving, so like if these little like long, tall things that are going up towards the waist, they're coming off and sticking out in the dress. That's hilarious. Men's clothing would have looked like this with top hats. They're wearing these things to go out at night. These are the little children who will grow up to type on typewriters. So there's a hairy issue for men. Different types of facial hair that you could have had. There's a nose. No, there's a mustache trainer that will go under your face. Before, you got a sad droopy mustache, and after, you have a nice perky mustache. A nice well-trained mustache. In Canada, there was a $4 bill. There was a steam-driven wooden motorcycle? Wait, what? That's a steam engine? Steam-propelled bicycle. Whoa. Was that a thing? This says, the first guy had made fast time on the river road when he suddenly fell. He had shut off the steam as if on premonition of the end. He died? Wait, I'm so confused. He died while he was riding, but he had shut the steam engine off first. That's crazy. Okay, maybe this is why it didn't catch on. There's a whole bunch of snake oil tonics happening at the time. Cute little pictures of babies using teacups as toilets. Okay, lots of fun stuff happening in 1867. So this is when the typewriter was first invented, or first kind of like patented with like first successful patent at this time. Okay, so Henry Mills was the guy who originally did it. Let's see if he invented anything else. All of Henry Mills' inventions. Wikipedia. Henry Mill, English inventor, patented his typewriter in 1714. His other inventions include improvements in the carriage springs. Also got a patent for impressing or transcribing of letters singly or progressively one after another. So neat and exact as not to be distinguished from print. Very useful in settlements and public records. Okay, so he only did the two things. That's a little bit of a letdown. Let's try the other guy. All of Christopher Latham Sholes' inventions. Wikipedia again. There he is, the man himself. Okay, so he invented the typewriter and nothing else. This is also crediting him with inventing the QWERTY keyboard. Oh, fun fact, he did not like being called Christopher. He went by C. Latham Sholes, or C.L. Sholes, never Christopher Sholes. Okay, so Henry Mill did his stuff in 1714, and then Sholes drew inspiration from a lot of other people. So there's 100 years that have gone by. It sounds like there's a lot of other people who are trying to also make a working typewriter. Wait, so this is John Pratt's model. What's going on with this John Pratt guy? Let's see, they hyperlinked his name right here. John Pratt. known for creating the Type, one of the earliest typewriters. He got some letters of patent too. His machine was covered in several journals, and one such description attracted the attention of Christopher L. Scholes, who then went on to develop the Remington No. 1, which is the first commercial successfully one. Okay, so sounds like there was a bunch of other people who were like making prototypes and doing this stuff, and then Christopher Scholes was just the first one to like successfully find somebody to produce it commercially, and then it kind of took off after that. Okay, so I'm sitting here thinking about how the typewriter is like doing this, but how does the ink get onto the front? Because it like will hit the page and then come back, but where in that process is the ink getting onto the keys? How does that work? Let me just do a little, how does a typewriter get ink on the letters? Question mark. How a mechanical typewriter works. Okay, so in this little animation, it's showing that the key is resting here, and then it goes up and hits the page, which is honestly very cool little lever system here. But like, where in this process is the ink getting on top of the little thing there? Like, how is this thing? Oh, it's hitting a ribbon paper? Oh, it's going through the paper, through the ribbon onto the page. Oh, very cool. Okay. This is super interesting. If you're curious about it at all about how typewriters work, this is really cool. But you guys can watch that on your own time. Okay, let's find out what people said against the typewriter when it first came out. What were all those naysayers saying about it? Okay, let's try this one. American diplomacy. So critics that were tradition bound opposed the use of the typewriter on legal and even health grounds. The finished product was neither printed nor handwritten. So there had to be some different laws that were enacted to confirm how legal the typed documents actually were. Some diehard people against it were saying that it tended to become blurry. The letters got blurry, which harmed one's eyesight. They're saying that more people are wearing glasses now that the typewriter is being used. The most basic objection was based on social considerations. They felt like the typewriter was impersonal and lacking in privacy. Other people didn't like getting the typed out messages because they felt like the person sending the message was like, we don't feel like you can read handwritten notes, so we're going to send you a typed letter instead. That's how they were like, why would you think that? I can read handwriting. That's funny. Okay, how about we ask, why was the typewriter so revolutionary? Question mark. SFO Museum, an innovation in writing. So before it was introduced, handwriting was a cumbersome process where you had to dip your pen in ink, and then after the communication on paper increased dramatically, typewriting was efficient, created clear and legible documents, easily produced multiple copies. I feel like this is giving all of the reasons that you would expect about why it would be revolutionary. So just think about like reasons why you would expect the typewriter to have been helpful and productive, and those are probably the reasons listed here. But it makes me wonder, like, what was like a handwritten word per minute versus like a typewritten word per minute? But it makes me wonder, like, what was words per minute before and after the typewriter? Let's see. Let's try this one. Inventions in tech. Difficult birth of the typewriter. Okay, the typewriter was, of course, an invaluable tool. A mediocre typist could write faster and more legibly than a clerk. A typewriter could do 75 words a minute, as opposed to 24 by a pen. Yeah, that is really a significant increase. So this paper is mostly talking about like how it kind of took a while for it to take off because the typewriters were really expensive, and so people were like most people were hesitant to buy one. Apparently a lot of people would just run to the glass and like look at the typewriters. They were like really enjoyed looking at them and thinking about how cool they were, but not very many people actually bought them until the business boom started straining the capacities of all of the different like office people that were already there. So the managers grew more willing to gamble on new labor-saving practices, began to win acceptance as an indispensable clerical tool. So sales finally began to climb in the 1880s. When was it invented again? 1868. So it took like 12 years. Anyways, that's pretty much all the time I have for today to look into the typewriter. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you had a good time, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.